Okay. So the whole purpose is to go over what you guys need to prepare for the quiz on Thursday. Okay. So on Thursday, Reading 100 will have a Moodle quiz, right? And the quiz will be, I will do exactly the same as what I did before. I will open it up from 6 p.m. until 9 p.m. So students have 3 hours to complete it, but the quiz is actually an hour long, but you have a 3 hour window break to complete it. Okay. Are you guys clear about that?
Yes.
All right, awesome. So let's go through the quiz content. So I'm going to open up my PowerPoint slides and we're going to go through the research paper structure. That is what, the quiz will be about for Thursday. So first of all, I just want to ask, did you guys complete your research paper questions that I posted on Sunday, correct?
Which one? Sorry, the form you mean,
Yeah,
or
the form, the
yes,
check.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
good. All right. So before I start with you guys, just a quick definition, just out of yourselves, what you do remember from these slides and also the slides from last week. What is a research paper? In your own words, it doesn't have to be perfect, but how would you explain what a research paper is? Raz.
Actually, the research paper, we said that's a formal document, and
Mhm.
we answer the research questions, and you said it's a hypothesis.
Correct. There's always a
Yeah,
hypothesis. Yes.
yeah, based on the test and for example, the finding, and you said that finding is the data,
Mhm.
and yeah, it's a credible. Yeah, we said that.
Yes, perfect. Thank you so much, Raz. So, a research paper is actually super easy because it only is a very formal paper and it talks about a research question. So, you need to have a problem that you want to solve, a hypothesis. And it's based on gathering data in methods, analyzing that data, and having a conclusion at the end. That's it. All right. Okay. So, there are 5 parts of a research paper. What do you guys remember those parts are? Chanwan.
As we have 5 parts. The first
Mm-hmm,
one is abstract, which is a
mm-hmm,
short summary. We use
mm-hmm.
it at the beginning, and
Yeah.
then introduction,
Yes.
and also we have a method and result. And
Uh-huh.
the last part, I think, is discussion. It's
Yeah.
about your opinion and
Yep.
conclusion.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. So I'm going to remove the app, but you're correct. Abstract is the first part of a research paper. It's usually at the very, very, very beginning, and it's very short. It's about 150 to 200, and it just kind of gives you a quick overview of the entire paper. All right. Then we have an introduction. Then we have methods, all right, which we're going to discuss. Then we have results. Then we have discussion and conclusion. Those are the parts of a research paper. So if I give you an example, you should be able to look at the example and determine what part of the research paper this could be. Okay? All right. Raz, your hand is still up. You want to answer?
No, sorry, I forget to remove it.
Okay. All right. So when we look at the research paper, we have the introduction, which gives a big overview. It gives you the research question, and all of it is trying to tell you what you're going to cover in this entire research, what type of methods you're going to use. So let's go into methodology. So just from yourself, methods. Okay. What does methodology mean? Amen. Amen.
The method, like when you wanna find something from what they call it, wait, from a resource, you
Uh-huh.
have to, yeah, you have to bring something from a verified resource, so you can use
Okay.
it in a research paper.
Okay. Not 100%. Let's try again. Methods. Methods. Raz.
Actually, the methods describe how the study was done, right? It's like that.
Correct. How did you collect the data? That is correct. And there's two type of methods. We have qualitative and we have quantitative. Okay. Chawan, if I want to interview somebody, I want to sit down and interview somebody, where will it go? Qualitative or quantitative?
We use qualitative.
That's correct. Okay. And if I have a large number of people, I want to get feedback over 20,000 people, which one will I use? Qualitative or quantitative? Amen.
Quantitative.
Quantitative, because you cannot interview 20,000 people. You could try, but in terms of resources, it will be very strenuous to you. So qualitative is always for very deep interviews, okay? You want to look at meaning. You want to explore the theme of what everybody is saying. You want to interview experts. So think about a university and you want to understand the quality of that university. For interviews, you would interview the teachers because the teacher number is much smaller than the student number. You would interview the president, okay? You would interview the finance office. But if you want to know the massness of how good the university is and how students feel, then you would do a survey with them. And that would be your quantitative, okay? Are you guys very clear on those two? Good. All right. Then the next part of it, then we look at once you have your research, you've got your data, we have results, okay, which I did in the previous slides. And your results are basically based on the data. In the results section, you do not interpret, you do not give your opinion. When you have results, you give it exactly as it is. 20% of the people said this. 0% of the people said this. You do not give your opinion at all. Do you guys understand the results section? You literally just write the results down. Okay? No interpretation, nothing like that. All right. After the results, then we have the discussion. That is when you can give your interpretation. This is where you can give your critical thinking. What do you think the results mean? Okay, all right. So Changwan, when you see the discussion section, if I give you a paragraph and and I ask you, is this discussion or is this results? What will you look at in the discussion section? What clues would you look at there?
Actually, for discussion, we use like for limitation or the thing that you find. You discuss about it. For example, talk about the language that you use or talk about the action that we find it. But in the result, it just mention how you find the data from method.
That's it. Thank you very much. Okay. I want to hear from Eamon. Eamon, when we say acknowledge limitation, what do you think that means? So in the discussion, we also have to acknowledge limitation, okay? Acknowledge limitation. What do you think that means?
It means wait, honestly stating or the weakness
Okay,
of the study or,
yeah.
small sample size.
Okay, all right. So it's acknowledging what you could not do or couldn't do well in this research. That's what limitations mean, okay? And it's not a fault. And research is never a fault. The fault in research is when you lie. That's the fault. But if you say, I was hoping to to survey 1,000 students, but only 500 responded, it's not a mistake. It's not a fault. It's just limitations, and you state the limitation. Okay. And that comes in the discussion question, right? Raz, how would you connect to the prior research? So discussion is also about prior research. What do you think that means?
Actually, it's comparing when you're finding with the others, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Means that connecting.
Yes. So you look at what your results were, and then you
Yeah, and the
compare it
other.
the other, exactly.
Yeah,
Because there are people who have done the research before you,
before.
but
Yeah,
maybe in a different country, for example. Okay?
they have a
Right.
different result.
Yes, exactly. And then you interpret the results, you explain the findings, you try to figure out what does it mean. So if 80% of the students say we hate online learning, or 80% of the students are failing their online courses, okay? What do you think that would mean? If I gather data and the data says 80% of the students are currently failing their courses, how would you interpret that? Do students like online learning? Do they find it difficult, or do they struggle with general logistics? How would you interpret that? Raz?
Yes, it's 80%. So that's mean that most of the students have the struggle with it and they don't like the online class.
Exactly. Then that's where
Yeah,
you interpret
because we
it.
depend on the data and the data is 80%. That's a number is a lot. So that's why.
Yes, exactly. All right, Amen. You have your hand up.
Yeah, we should actually go to the majority of the students who didn't pass the online classes. So
Yes,
that means, yeah, they didn't like it. We
they
have to
didn't
go on the
like it.
short data for the research, the story, what they call it, the discussion.
The discussion. There you go.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Okay. All right. So in discussion, you have interpretation, you connect to prior research. Three, you acknowledge, and then you suggest future research. Okay. What questions still need to be answered from your research, something that you couldn't answer it correctly, then you would have to say, okay, in the future research, I would like to explore more of this area. Why do students not like online learning? Is it the time frame? Is it the internet connectivity? Is it the social and emotional disconnect between students and faculty? So you try to suggest future research. Okay. So do we all understand the discussion section? No? Yes? Okay. All right. And then the final part we have is the conclusion. Okay. Um, you guys already know what the conclusion is, right? And then the conclusion is pretty much standard and similar in all types of writing. From reviewing the slides, Chawan, what are the four things that should be in a conclusion?
Conclusion is summarizing the whole study
Mm-hmm.
and is about the thing that readers should do or not.
Okay, call to action. Yes.
Call to action, yes.
All right.
Um,
It's
I think
okay.
it's short focused. Short focused.
Short and focused. Yes. Raz, you have your hand up?
Yeah, I just want to say is restate of the study and summarize the result actually and call to actions. And we have some rules. For example, it need to be short, clear,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
we need to not talk about other new ideas.
Yes,
Yeah,
correct. You
that's
do
it.
not bring any new things in the
New ideas.
conclusion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And in a conclusion, the best thing that you can always do is to call the readers to action because it helps clear it. It says, this is what I was able to do. This is what I'm able to find. This is a problem. So in the future, we suggest that people do X, Y, and Z. Or universities need to spend more money on this type of technology except instead of something else. Okay. So the conclusion is very much similar to all the other conclusion. Okay. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, I see it, but small.
Oh, okay. Are you guys doing it from your phones? Okay. There is an example paragraph of the conclusion. Okay. Do you see it on the screen? Perfect. Okay, so let's look at this. I want you to look at this example of the conclusion, all right? And I want us to try and find the different parts. So we said that it's a small summary, okay? So I want you to read it quickly and tell me where is the small summary? Where is the call to action? Okay. Is there something, is it short and focused? So just quickly read it and tell me which parts, if we had to annotate this, which parts would be found in this conclusion? Okay, right, Raz. Okay, so if we look at the summary, we want to
Yes,
try to
the
find a
first,
summary. Yes,
yeah, the first three sentences actually is the summary about the study.
yes, okay.
Am I correct? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then summarize the result. These 3 points below it is about the result. And the call for the action is a last point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
I would say let's look at it again. So you can help make social media a safer place for everyone,
Mhm.
okay? By, and then she lists 3 points. Those 3 points are what?
Uh, it's help to make social media a safer place for everyone.
Okay, so it is all of those 3 points actually fall under what? What would I label those 3 points?
For
Call to
action,
action.
Call to
for the
action.
action.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. All three of them, Raz. All three of them.
Okay.
Okay, because it says that you can help make social media a safer place for everyone by, and then she tells you what to do, learning about differences between hate speech, reporting harmful and hurtful posts, and recognize that everyone on social media is, not everything on social media is true. So those are the call to action. But in terms of the summary and everything, you're right. The first little paragraph, we use social media far a lot for far a lot of things. Okay. All of that is the summary. All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Jawan, do you have any questions?
No, miss. Thank you.
You good?
Yes.
Okay, right. What I'm going to do is I have shared with you guys a Google form, which I'm going to try and open up here. That was a review of this work. I hope you all finished it, and I'm just going to review it for students that are watching the video, and we can discuss this together. Okay, so it was Reading 100 Week 8 research paper, methods, discussions, and conclusion worksheet. Okay, so the first question we have there says, read the caption and determine if the methods are qualitative or quantitative. Okay, and you can immediately see from the first three sentences to understand how actually, in fact, I'm going to give you guys 2 minutes to read that, and then you decide whether it's quantitative or qualitative.
Ms. Keithak, should we go to the Google form or you share with us? Because I didn't see anything.
You didn't get the Google form?
I get it. We need to go there by ourselves.
You can go
I
back.
thought
No, no,
that
no. You don't have to. You don't have to. We can do it right here on my screen. Can you see it on my screen?
no, I didn't see it. Actually, it's on conclusion.
Okay, let me stop
Still the
sharing.
slides working. Yeah.
Okay, I got it. Thank you so much for telling me. Okay, can you see it now?
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, good. All right. So let's look at the first one. This is just a quick review. What would we call that? Qualitative or quantitative? I'm going to give you guys about a minute to just quickly read. Okay. So I want to hear from Chawan. Chawan, this method, would you describe it as qualitative or quantitative?
I think it's quantitative because it's mentioned in a deep interview, so it's about quantitative and it's not a big data, it's a small sample.
You switching the words. You switching the words.
In a deep interview, it's mentioned that it's quantitative.
Now, if it's deep interview,
With 20 high schools?
yes. And I think you know what you're saying. I think you're using the wrong word, though.
Really?
Yes. Quantitative is mass data. Qualitative.
So it could be a qualitative.
There you
Yes.
go. All right. Okay, good. Because I know that you were mentioning the correct characteristics of it. If you get confused, always just think of the word quantity. Quantity refers to data, collect numbers, and quantitative can only be with mass data. So quanti, numbers, mass data, okay? And then quali means to sit down and in-depth discussion, in case you get confused between the two words, okay? But it's correct. It's qualitative because you see that she's talking about an interview. It's a very small number of people she's interviewing. She's asking open-ended questions so that people can explain their emotions. And then at the end, she's going to analyze the patterns and the themes of what is similar between the participants because she's going to write about it in a qualitative style. Right, Raz, you have your hand up.
Sorry, Ms. Keitha. When I do this form and I choose the qualitative and it says wrong, I don't know why.
No way. No way. Really?
Yes,
On the
yes.
result on the Google form, yeah, it said it's wrong. I don't know why, because I'm sure that's that qualitative, not
It's
quantitative.
it's qualitative. It's qualitative. I will have a look at that. So, question one. Okay, I will check that. It shouldn't be wrong. Okay. Number two, what are the features that made you choose your answer in question one? So it's going back to the first one. What are the featured the key features of what made you choose for the first question the answer? Amen.
The first one is an in-depth interview, and the
Yes,
second one is focus on patterns and themes.
correct. Okay. The next one, I'm going to give you about a minute to read it. Read this caption and determine if it's qualitative and quantitative, and tell me what are the characteristics that you're looking for. Raz.
Actually, it's a quantitative because there's a number and the statics and the large numbers.
Mm-hmm. What is the clue that it was a large number?
Because it said the students over the let me find the where's that?
Number three.
It's five 500 high school students.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a large samples. Yeah, 500.
Very good. Okay. And what did they give them? How did they collect? What did they give them? What did they collect the data through? Amen.
Through the online questionnaire.
Yes, online questionnaire. Okay. And usually with surveys, you never ask deep questions in surveys. In surveys, you always give, do you guys know the agree or disagree? Have you seen that? Or you ask students to rate something from a scale to 1 to 10. How do you feel? You always ask quick yes, no questions. You never ask deep questions ever in a survey. It's always short. You want students to quickly click on it, okay? To click and move along, not deep thoughts. Deep thoughts will come through interviews, okay? Good job. Thank you so much, Raz, okay? Chawan, what are the key features that made you choose your answer in the previous question? You had to tick 2 things.
Mass data collections and measure and count.
Measure and count. Thank you very much. The next one, here is a sample of discussion paragraph. Determine what characteristics of discussion the sentences represent in bold. In bold, okay? So the bold sentence says, however, the study is limited by its reliance on self-reported data, meaning that students may have underreported or misremembered the experience with fear speech, which could affect the accuracy of the findings. Remember, we said discussion, you have 4 things: interpretation, connect to prior research, limitation, and suggest future research. The sentence is bold. Which one does it represent? Russ.
Actually, it's not interpretations and it's not connected to other researchers, for example. It's a limitation. Talk about the problem.
About a problem, okay?
Yeah.
It says what went wrong with them, okay? It says what did not go as planned. Very good. It's limitation. Amen. Was it your same answer for you?
My answer is already in the boldened part. There is, however, this study is limited by its reliance on self-reported data. With
There you,
self-reported data, it's mean a weak study method.
yes, there you go. All right. And the key word is that you're correct. Limited. Okay. Chawan, did you understand this well?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right. And then the last one, what are the characteristics of a conclusion? Check more than one box. Okay, what would we say would we see in a conclusion? Ms. Raz.
It's called for the actions. It's one of them. And we didn't mention that introduce more research. We cannot say that. And discuss the result further. It's not actually. And summarize the problem. These 2 answers.
There you go. Thank you very much. Correct. Okay. So the quiz, that's why I'm doing this with you guys today, because the quiz will have something similar to this. You will be given extracts, and then you have to determine what part of a research paper this could be. Okay, that's number 1. It will ask you, what are the key characteristics? How did you choose that answer? Exactly what we did right here. It might ask you to choose more than one answer. It might ask you to fix a problem. So if there's a problem in there, it might ask you to fix it. So true and false, annotation, and analysis. Okay? Ms. Raz.
Actually, Ms. Mkita, I have a question. You mentioned it in the previous video. You said that abstract will be written last part. Is that right?
No,
Because
not the last part.
no, it's first part. But when someone write the research, it need to write the abstract lastly because we need the summary on all of the part, right?
That is correct. That is correct.
Okay.
Your abstract is like you finished writing your whole research paper.
And then you summarize all of them in the first part.
Exactly.
Okay.
Always like that because you don't know what the results will be, right? You don't know what everything will be. So that's why abstract, you write
Yeah,
it
I
last.
just want to make sure about this point. And actually, I have another questions for the quiz. We have a time limitation.
Yes, you have about an hour.
Okay, thank you.
It's an hour, okay? And it will be on Moodle. And I will give you guys the instructions exactly what time, what you need to do. And it will be open on Thursday, the same, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. All right? Good. All right. Any questions? Amen. Your hand is up.
For the quiz on Thursday,
Yes.
we'll use qualitative and quantitative, right, for the quiz, or how is it?
Okay, so basically the purpose of the quiz is to check your guys' understanding of the parts of a research paper. So it won't just look at that, it will look at all parts like methods, introduction, results, conclusion, all of them. Okay. And I could ask you a question like we did on this worksheet. I give you an extract and I ask you the key characteristics and features. Okay. I could ask you, is this qualitative or quantitative? And you have to give me the reasoning for it. Okay.
Okay, but we do not have to write, right?
No, 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 no,
Just
no.
just like
No,
this
no.
form,
No, no,
similar to
no.
this form.
Yes, totally to
Okay.
just the, yeah, don't, I'm not going to expect you to go and write something. No, I just want you to be able to understand the different parts.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. So that's all for today. I'm going to post this onto Moodle for our students that couldn't attend. If you have friends and they have not completed this Google form or have not watched it, please tell them so that they can prepare for their quiz on Thursday. All right. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, Miss. Goodbye.
Bye bye. Go sleep. Go back to bed. Bye bye.
Well,
Goodbye.
Bye bye.